Hi, I'm Kelly Stark, and thank you for attending this webinar on building your brand and managing your personal brand. I'm really passionate about this subject because I've realized how my own personal brand has shaped this Ford Vision marketing company. And I'm very passionate about my job and love it. I think that when you are able to realize what your personal brand is and express it and be able to use that in your career, you have a drive and you have a calling that you are enjoying. So I want to share how to really zone in on that and express that, and then leveraging that so that you can make connections with others and people understand who you are and what you're after. So this is going to be a very interactive webinar. I'm hoping that you're going to be able to craft that personal brand right here and then learn how to share that and leverage it through LinkedIn. And I hope some tips and tricks are very helpful for you. So go ahead, grab your paper, pencil, be ready to kind of make some notes on discovering what your personal brand is. So in the past, I may have introduced myself with my background. You know, I was a chemical engineer turned marketer, and I've had this experience with Texas Instruments and all these other companies. And a lot of people introduce themselves that way, and you realize that that's a lot of information and it's just going to fly over most people's head. So now I like to introduce myself as, hi, I'm Kelly Stark. I like to help high-tech companies communicate their innovations because I understand technology. And that allows people to really zone in on, you know, I'm focused on marketing and technology field and that I'm unique in that area. What I love about branding is you realize that it starts to affect everything you do. So at Ford Vision Marketing, we have this team of excellent people that are experts in writing, graphic design, web, but yet they all have a background of being very immersed or familiar, experienced in technology. And had I not set apart that brand for our company and for myself, we could have been scattered in a lot of different, we could have been just a generic marketing firm. So I think it's very important once you start to realize what's your core strengths and start building all the processes and people around that. I think Jeff Bezos says it best when he's asked, what is your personal brand? It's what people say about you when you leave the room. And you have the ability to control that, believe it or not. When you're able to clearly understand who you are and able to communicate that, then people are going to pick up on that. And that's what they're going to say about you when you leave the room. I think it's so important that we take this moment today and don't leave it, don't wait, but just to start noting, maybe writing some notes about what is unique about you. How do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as a person passionate about maybe even something in what you do for your volunteering, what you do at your house, something that is something really core about you? Put that down. Put down things that you're doing, involved in, and let's kind of just put together what it is about yourself. Because then once we're able to reflect that, it'll be shown when people are looking at us. So that's your personal brand. It's a part of both of those. Unfortunately, you may see yourself as something, but other people may actually see differently because of what you do or not do. So it's a combination of both, and that's important. I recently was so inspired by this book, Grit. It's the power of passion and perseverance. And Angela Duckworth actually won a Pulitzer Prize from it. And she has this great example that I wanted to share with you. And I think it really points out what the difference is in a personal brand statement. So there's 3 bricklayers. And the first one's asked, what do you do? And he says, I'm a bricklayer. And the second one is asked, and he says, well, I build churches. The third one responds by saying, I build the house of God. So that's his calling. And you can see how you can really look at the top level what you do, even if you're just a piece of it, and express that as your personal brand statement. I talk to a lot of engineers, and when I ask them, hey, what do you? They answer with, I'm an engineer, sometimes mechanical engineer. Well, what do you do in your job? And then maybe they give me that they're in a certain industry, they work on a certain project, but it still lends itself to just be not very compelling, not very descriptive. So what I'm asking you guys to do is look at what your calling is. What are those in benefits that you're bringing in your job? Recently, I had a great story of a female engineer who is looking for a job, and she expressed herself, well, I'm a civil engineer. And then it comes out, well, I manage the Garland City water system. And then she could expand that to something more in the calling about how she helps keep the whole city of Garland's water and disposal running and maintaining a 99% reliability and so on, that they could show a little bit more about that in benefit. So I am trying to motivate you to kind of write those keywords down. If you're designing, engineering, consulting, all these different terms might be part of what you do, but then connect it to that in benefit to develop that statement. And here's some examples of some strong personal brand statements from actually friends that I know. And I just pulled it from their LinkedIn statements. And I think this is really neat that these people aren't professional marketing people, but they were able to go ahead and develop a really strong personal brand statement. And a lot of them are leading their own businesses with this certain charge. So Sue says, I'm a catalyst of change to guide nonprofits, specifically those empowered on youth empowerment, to achieve new heights. And then recently I've been working with Michael Flores, who has launched a consulting company, and without any prompting from me, has put together such a great statement. I drive business value and bottom line performance by translating vision into customer-centric solutions with business transformation consulting. So a lot of strong keywords here that his target audience is going to recognize. Chris Cook, used to work with him, and I really think that it's a great example for a lot of engineers to look at this statement. He's adding what he really specifically solves. I solve difficult mechanical and thermal design problems from concept to production. It's a great job. Another guy, Carl, he provides, I'm a business developer extraordinaire for the Asia Pacific healthcare space, who's all about helping to enable new models of integrated and coordinated care. So I wanted to share some examples to help stimulate your mind on some things, but let's hear from you now. Oh, good, I got one. So David Land says, I build immersive video games that teach students how to write code. Oh, that's amazing. I mean, that's something that people can all grab onto, understand, and it's inspiring. Neat. Okay, anybody else? Oh, good. All right, Stephen Carter said, I turn roads into digital highways to enable global connectivity. Isn't that beautiful? I love that. And it expresses what you do in such a non-complicated way. People can grasp that at the cocktail party that we don't have anymore, but still, very well done. Thank you guys for sharing. I really appreciate that. Okay, so if you guys can go ahead and get ready for oh, I forgot my next slide. Here's just the one other test that I want you guys to look at when you're creating your personal brand statement. This is the same thing I do for company when they're creating their brand statement. Is it compelling? Those last two examples definitely hit the mark. But like I said, I hear a lot of people say, I'm a problem solver. And it's just, maybe it doesn't have enough meat to it to really make it compelling. So that's something that you have to kind of look at. The second one is it differentiated? Is everyone saying the same thing? And that's where you really have to look again. A lot of companies I talk to say, you know, we're the best, or we have the best quality, and so on. And it's just so overused. It's not a real differentiating factor. I really love when I ask them to dig deep into something that's really unique about them that they're giving out, because all of us are unique. And finally, is it truthful? Because these types of statements, I mean, you could have a goal of being something, but if you're not doing it and projecting it and being able to sustain that statement, it's just going to fly flat. A lot of us have this example when we're going through our business school is Southwest Airlines had the love campaign, and that they love their employees, they love their customers, and they really reinforced it in a lot of different ways that makes it seem truthful to their audience. Not just the logo on the plane, but just the way the employees interact with customers, and the no baggage fees, and many other things that they show, hey, we love our customers. If American Airlines tried to say, you know what, we love our customers, and we're going to steal that tagline and use it, it's going to fly flat, because there's no way that American really can replicate all the things that Southwest is doing to really enforce that message. They can go ahead and point a better looking heart on their planes, but it's not really going to have that real meaning, because it's not necessarily truthful in everything that they do. So these are the three lenses I want you to kind of look at it when you're doing that. I think I see one more that I'd love to share. All right, from David Justin. I help small business owners and digital marketing agencies craft brand messages that address audience pain points and offer solutions to resolve them. And so that's really specific, and so that it kind of differentiates him on what his market is. You know, he's gone after the agencies and, you know, SMBs. It's compelling because he talks about exactly how he solves pain points. I think that's great. So that's, and obviously it's truthful because he's one of our writers. So I think that's a great one. Thank you so much for sharing. So after you craft this, and like I said, I'm tasking all of you guys, don't leave this without actually crafting the message. Once you do that, I would love for you to be able to share that on your LinkedIn profile. And why LinkedIn? Well, because of course it has hundreds of millions of members, but most of them that are on this LinkedIn platform are senior level decision makers. So as business career people, this is where, when you show who you are here, you're helping your career, you're helping your company, you're building your brand. So it's basically the platform to do this on. Of course, I want you to share that on all your platforms, because it's great to build that personal network as well, understanding what you do. They're going to connect you to the right people. But this is something that I want to kind of go into, because we help a lot of businesses with their social media, and I want to look at it from a personal perspective, because it's really important when you start looking at this for your own self, not just your company, to say, oh, I'm missing on doing this. I need to do this better, because that's really how you build your company's social media strategy and brand. So this next couple slides, I have 10 questions, and I want you guys all to get ready to take it. I'm going to need you to go ahead and get to your LinkedIn profile, whether it's on your phone or opening a new tab. And let me launch to the next question. So recently I did this to the Texas Society of Professional Engineers. And Kevin Johnson here was so nice to let me use him as a guinea pig on this example. So you'll see his name there. But the question number one is, do you have a professional looking headshot and a background picture? And this one here that you see behind Kevin doesn't count because that's the default one that you see. I'm talking about, do you have a background picture that's going to help express who you are? For instance, if you're into technology in the telecom industry, are you showing that? Are you into a healthcare market? Are you showing something more into that, or something related to what you do? So people at a glance can look and say, oh, that's what Kevin's into. So I want to go ahead and launch that as a poll here. I'm going to start this polling question and give you guys a couple of minutes to, not a minute, a couple of seconds to go ahead and answer. This is anonymous, so I just think it's fun for the group to be able to kind of see a little bit about what people are already got done and maybe what they need to work on. So I'm going to go ahead and show, it looks like people are all putting this together. That's great. All right, share results. So right now, you guys, 64% of you have got it together. 36% are still working on, they probably just have their headshot only. And there's nobody there that doesn't have a picture, which is so huge. Thank you guys. So good job there. Let me go to the next slide. Now, question number 2 is whether you have your complete contact info. Now, this is a preference, but I feel like if you are connected at least to these people, then you do want to make it easy to talk to them. So Kevin here, this really just is their LinkedIn profile, and he does have his email, so that's a little bit there, but it would be great to have as much as ways possible for people to reach out and contact you. And it's right there on your profile, right under your name is the contact info. And once again, I am going to tell you, you can go into this section here and say how private you want to keep this contact info. But I'm going to launch the poll here on what you have on that one. Let's go to question number 2. All right, we've got about 33% of you voted. Come on, let's get that. It'll probably taking a little time for you guys to go check what your profile is. Great. All right, so it's close to 50-50 here of people that have shared their contact info. So not bad. That's much better than my last group. All right, this next one is, I know we've just created our professional headline, our branding, but right under here on Kevin's, it just says his job title. But you could actually right here express in very short characters your professional brand. And what I love about that is that's the title that appears when you're sharing articles and quotes and so on. So people can see at a glance that you're passionate about this subject, or that this is what you want to be known for. So it's better to have something that's more an overall about you versus the company. So let me launch that poll on whether you have that professional headline. Oh, good job, guys. You're faster on this one. All right, so once again, about 50-50 people that have just their job title versus someone who's already crafted a professional headline. So great job there. So question number 4, do you have the about summary? And that's something a lot of people may not have even on their profile. Kevin didn't, so I couldn't use him as an example. But this is where, instead of just having the short statement that you might have above your name or below your name, this is where you can expand, put some more keywords, details about you. And so let's see how many of you guys have got that filled out. All right, a couple more of you. All right. Looks like 80% of you have that filled out. That's excellent. So good job, guys, on that. The next question is whether you have 500 plus connections. And LinkedIn's kind of gives this out as a bare minimum now. So we just left it as whether you have it or not. Okay. Well, 22% of you have it, and 44% is almost there. So I would definitely encourage you guys in the next tips and tricks section here. Oh, and I'm not sharing the results here. To go ahead and get that filled out more, and we'll show you ways to grow that for you. All right, now down below that is kind of your job experiences. And Kevin here just has his title and the company and the dates. And that's kind of the bare minimum, but really to help people understand more about what you do, you need to fill that more out about what you're doing at these companies. So I'm asking, do you have your job details filled out? And that's this next quiz we're launching. And it's basically, yes, you do, or if not, you don't get a point. All right, I'm gonna share that. So 67% of you have filled that out, and that's great. So we still need some work on the other ones. So we'll get to that, I'm sure. Now, this one's a great one, and I love to bring attention to this. Have you received at least 3 recommendations? So if you go to your recommendation post here, you see that you can go to the received and given, and you can ask for a recommendation. So I wanted to point these 2 buttons out for you too. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Let's go and ask that question. Okay, so 44% of you have, oh, that's great. That's much better than a lot of my other audience. But 44% of you do not have recommendations. So this is something that I would encourage everyone to just do one today at least. Is the way I like to start it, and you'll see in the next one, is recommend somebody and then ask them if they wouldn't mind recommending you. So let's go to that next question. Oops, I'm sorry. Have you at least given 3 recommendations to others? Let me open the next question on that. Ooh, I keep hitting the background slide. Okay, so 22% of you have, 22% of you have at least one, but 56% do not. So um, it's really a beautiful thing that, you know, when you hit that, it comes up to the person's email through LinkedIn and lets them see it to you know, approve it. So it's something very easy, not intrusive, and it definitely is like the Amazon now, where you're wanting to buy something, and so you look down at the testimonials. Well, the same thing about people. If you're about to meet somebody, you're going to look at the testimonials and the recommendations to see, what is this person? Are they, you know, do they have a lot of people giving them glowing recommendations? So this really is important in your career. Okay, so let's go to the next one. And this is, do you belong to at least 2 networking groups? So down in the interest section, you can see the different groups you're belonging to. Just, you know, like I said, when I was speaking with a different group, it was very important to kind of look at, you know, are you guys even on LinkedIn part of this group? You may be on this webinar here, but it's very important to list under these groups and be able to use that as an audience of your networking. So I wanted to share that. Oh, good job, everybody. Everybody's a part of the group. So that's great. All right, the last question is basically, I forgot to ask you guys to tab your results. We might have to miss on that last one. So this is if you've shared at least 3 blogs or articles. They don't have to be your own, but you've, you know, liked or shared, engaged in something in the last month. Well, great. So it looks like 44% of you have at least shared something, three different things in the last month, and 22% of you have one at least post. But there's a good, you know, percentage of you guys who haven't been active at all, and that is important, because I like to think of it as being involved in a conversation. And if you're always the quiet person in the group, no one even starts to look at you to ask you questions or to have you be involved. They're used to you being just quiet and silent. And so you're really missing out on being able to be involved in these groups and these people that you're connected to. There's a tremendous value, even if you're not self-promoting your company and self-promoting you, just to be involved in these conversations. And it's too late if you've been mute for years and years and years to then all of a sudden expect people to start engaging with you and be back and forth. You really have to start building that credibility through time. So that's what I'm going to start talking about next. I've put together a last question, but unfortunately I forgot to tell you guys to keep track of your scores as you go through the different questions. But this was just for fun to say, hey, you know, are you a social stud? Did you get most of those questions right? Are you still in that bare minimum category? Oh, good. Some of you guys did keep tabs. And everybody, I'm sure, needs a little bit of improvement here and there. And so this is just a way for you to clue in to something maybe you haven't paid any attention to. And I'm not pointing any fingers there. So that's great. But everyone looked pretty good here. Good job, guys. Oh, I didn't share the poll. There you go. Definitely some social studs out there. As I was going through this, I found this really neat link. And LinkedIn has these individual social selling indexes. And it's specialized to you. So if you use this link here, linkedin.com/sales/ SSI for Social Selling Index, I think. It populates your score, and it changes on a daily basis. And you can see where you stand with others in your network, different things of why, so on and so on. I just thought this was interesting. So as you go along, perhaps you set some goals today of, at least doing 3 social shares per month and seeing what your score is now and then seeing how it changes. I like measurements. We do a lot of analytics and measurements. So that I just thought this was something fun I would share with you. And nobody else can see yours. It's individual to you. It's pretty cool. Okay, so does anyone have any questions on what we've talked about in LinkedIn? I'm going to just go ahead and share some tips and tricks. If you guys have some tips and tricks, could you go ahead and post those up in the chat? Because this is, I wanted to kind of set the stage for basic sharing and hashtags and things of that nature to make you guys more comfortable in doing that. But I know we have some great writers here and some experts that would be wonderful to hear something that they love to do, maybe where they find news, how they use hashtags, that kind of stuff. So I want you to go ahead and share. I would appreciate the shared expertise that we have here. And once again, I'm wanting you guys to first select your brand, kind of get that nailed down, because that's going to drive you in what content you're going to want to post about. And then using LinkedIn to kind of demonstrate that expertise. And the way you do that is by sharing content. And by doing that, you're going to evolve your expertise. You're going to hone into more passion. You're going to get into more opportunities because of the connections you've made. So let's kind of go into that, and it'll be very nice and short. So I'm starting with the basics. When you go to your home screen, you basically have your feed of different people you're connected to, but you can start a post from there from scratch. And I like to encourage things like if you've made a personal professional achievement, congratulations and thank you posts are always great. If you have some kind of expert insight, a testimonial, something you've experienced recently with somebody. Of course, when there was trade shows going on, it was great to put that, but even webinars, it's good to kind of point those out. And it can be fun or it can be serious. We like to kind of mix up a lot of that in our posts, and depending on the kind of brand that you want to project, you may want to hone in on something that maybe your audience is really into. So one of the things that was fun with one client, and they were an IT client, and they knew that a lot of their audience were kind of IT geeks and that they might like, Star Wars. So they kind of use that as their fun social posts, little gleams about that, and kind of use that in their brand of, hey, we're kind of geeky guys like you, and this is what we're into. And I'm personally a big Star Wars fan, so I loved being able to do that. So you could do all kinds of things of that nature. Obviously, you see the links here for photo, video. You can attach documents. Writing an article is great because then it helps appear on your post. So you can kind of use this as your blog site now as well. When you are getting the easiest way, rather than creating from scratch, is you see something pop up in your feed, like we're members of Tech Titans, and they put down a great award to 5,000 to entrepreneurs for 5G. Well, I want to share that to my audience. Just because it happens in my feed doesn't mean that everyone I'm connected to sees that. It's only because I'm connected to Tech Titans. So I hit the share button, and then I can go ahead and write something that would be a little bit more of my thought leadership onto it. So one of the things that I always encourage people is if you just share an article, that's fine, and that's a base. But if you want to get people in your network to comment on it, it really helps if you start the ball rolling with a comment of your own. So go ahead and post a little bit, a mention of something up top, and then they can kind of start wanting to comment below that. And now this is a tip. If I was out on the web, not in my LinkedIn profile, and I think this is important for you guys to do. You don't always have to go into LinkedIn every day and check it. You could be posting as you see something that pops up of very interest to you. Most articles nowadays have this LinkedIn share, and it's super easy. You click that, it pops up to share. Do you want to share this in a post where it would have it in your feed, or you want to send it to a private message? And then once again, add a little bit personalization to it. I use tools like Hootsuite that allow me to share to all my networks with a link from the browser. There's a lot of tools out there that can do that as well. So once again, you can be sharing articles when you're out, doing other work. And this is why it's important. I like to kind of show that if I show you a lot of these engineers, the LinkedIn algorithm, they kind of get, oh, this is why I have to do that. So a lot of times we'll create a company post for a company that we serve. And then we say, all right, employees, please like or share or comment, click on this article, because this is helping it stay in the LinkedIn feed. And here's the first filter. You create some content. It goes through, a universal content filtering to see if, it has some bad words or anything that would trigger that. But once it goes through that, then it starts going through the user feeds and seeing, hey, are people liking it? If so, let's make this a viral post. If it's not getting liked, all right, send it back out. We don't think this content is good. So the LinkedIn's unique in that, unlike Twitter and Facebook, you have your feed and it just gets passed down through time. LinkedIn can keep posting up something that they see is getting a lot of engagement. So it's very important to help your companies and your brands out by liking those posts that get posted out there. And then I do want to show here, if you do have something posted up to your feed and you don't like it, maybe you want to not see some political post or something, you can go here and delete this from your feed, and then help squash content that is not good to be out there, and help these editors do that. So I wanted to show that as well. And I think that'll help clean up some of the stuff that's out there. Any questions on this? And then just one simple little addition here is, one of the things that's fun is when you share something is to tag people. So when you tag somebody, and it's hard to see here, but you put the @ symbol, and then you can tag somebody that you're connected to, whether it's a person or a company. So you put the @ symbol, and then it allows it to pop up to in a bold print, like you see here, my name's bolded. And it kind of gives me an alert to say, hey, someone tagged you in a post. You get a little more attention to it. People can click on that person as well and get connected. Why is that person? So I saw a fun post today, and I don't know, David, if you saw that, but I posted you because I was talking about why, the government needs to hire sci-fi writers. And I'm like, oh yes, David, Justin, you're perfect for that. But it's fun to just kind of highlight different people, especially if you're doing a recognition, a thank you post. Definitely want to let people know that. And I just wanted to pull a few examples. Fujitsu is one of our clients, and we did this this type of social selling training for all of their sales force. And their president is great about putting that personal touch out even to his profile. So I think this is a good example of something that at a president level of a huge global company, of something you can be really personal about to your family, your friends, and the people that you work with. Sorry. And I also wanted to just show a nice kudos post to someone using that @ symbol well, being able to tag somebody. And so it's a nice, simple way of recognizing people. And so I think that's a great idea. And finally, I just wanted to talk about hashtags. I get a lot of questions about hashtags. So hashtags help people search. You can follow hashtags. It's like adding a special keyword tag to your posts. When you have a company profile, you have, sorry, this is my last slide, as you can see. You are allowed to kind of put your profile hashtags that are out there. So this Move Solutions company had these 3, and therefore we kind of try to use those in some of the popular posts that it's related to. And when someone searches on relocation, these posts are going to pop up. So you can use those in the comments. You can use those in your post. And you can check on which ones are the most popular ones to be able to see. You see this relocation has 6,000 followers, but then you add a relocation services and it only has 419. So that can kind of influence which ones you want to use as well. All right, so thank you guys for your attention, for participating in the quiz and giving me some of your brand statements. I really hope that you learned something from today and that you'll actually start utilizing some of the tips and tricks today. If you do need help, I am offering free consultations because it's great to have a chance to talk to different people, see what they're doing, and be able to offer some tips and tricks. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to keep this up. And that's why a lot of companies use us so that they can communicate that branding voice out there and keep their network up. So feel free to contact me. And I really want to just enforce, share, do it today, get that personal brand down and start sharing it with others. If anyone has any questions, let me know. Otherwise, have a wonderful Friday on the rest of your weekend.